Hey guys, Spencer here, and today we're talking about Anchor, the sponsor of today's episode. If you guys haven't heard about Anchor, Anchor is the newest and best way to create your own podcast. If you don't know what Anchor is, it's a free, easy to use alternative way to make a podcast than it used to be. They have so many creation tools on their website and on the app that you can just record right from it and upload it straight into Anchor, and Anchor will help you distribute your podcast out to Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all the other places along the internet. If you guys want to check it out, go to their app, Anchor, on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, or go visit their website at anchor.fm and get started and make your own podcast today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Spooki Bois podcast. We're actually going to be talking to you today about one of the most famous cryptids in the entire world. Now, this is one that I'm super excited about, as a lot of y'all already know, as well as Spencer.
Oh yeah.
I'm huge into cryptids. I actually have this cryptid tattooed on my leg currently. I love the story of this being. I love the story of most cryptids here. And let me tell you, I'm just absolutely stoked to get into it.
I'm as stoked as you are, and for anybody that doesn't know what this is, we'll give you a quick hint before we get into it. It takes place in
Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I forgot the place's name, so I knew it was in West Virginia, but I pointed at him and everything. We'll get to that later. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's all good.
But
so without further ado,
get on with it.
Yes, sir. So throughout the years of 1966 to 1967, around Point Pleasant, West Virginia, many sightings of a humanoid creature with a 10-foot-long wingspan began popping up all throughout the town and nearby. Little did people know, these sightings would be the cause of one of the most well-known cryptids throughout history. These sightings would be the birth of a creature known as the Mothman. So we're already starting off on a great time period here. Before I even get into it, 1966 to 1967, this is like the peak of like comic book era. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
the only thing that keeps people interested right now is like books. There's not a lot.
Yeah, comics and little like drawings and stuff, and there wasn't at this time. There was only Saturday morning cartoons, and that was barely it was barely like there. They weren't really cartoons, they were more like Saturday morning shows for kids. So for like teenagers and adults to be coming into this, to seeing, this cryptic in the sky, what is that? Like, thinking it's straight out of a comic book. Pretty crazy.
So do you know anything about Mothman before we get into this at all? Like,
I do not. You're gonna be giving me most of this. I've heard things about it. I think I played a game a while back based on the Mothman, but I have no idea what we're getting into here. I'm along for the ride, just like the viewers are.
Heck yeah. So when I initially mentioned it, what's the first thing that really pops into your head? That's
it makes you think, like giant wings and like the glowing like little antennas and everything like that. Like, looks like a moth, but it's a human figure. That's what it makes me think of. It doesn't make me think anything scary. Just it makes me think of a giant flying moth. The size of a spaceship. Yeah. I'm just.
He's like,
get to the moon. Straight to the light, man.
Oh man, I love that. I love the description of that. See, whenever I think of the Mothman, all I think of is this cute little like fuzzy boy. Like that's all I can think of.
Like, Honey, I Shrank the Kids. It's just a little baby moth. It's got feet and everything. It's walking straight up and out. Oh, how you doing, sir? Straight down below you. Oh my god.
I love it. But so me doing research on this thing completely changed my perspective, and I'm hoping it kind of does the same to you. So,
I hope it does too. I really do.
Would you like me to continue here, boss?
Get on with it.
Alrighty. So the cryptid's first real sighting came from a group of 5 men digging a grave on November 12th, 1966. Very important date there, which is also another reason why I'm a little bit scared about this, is because I was born November 12th.
1966 to be exact.
Yeah,
obviously you're that old. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're currently like what? 70 years old, 80 years old now.
I don't know if that's
60 somewhere in there. Wait. So about 60. About 60. You'll be close. No, you'll be like 54, 55. I don't know. I'm pretty bad at math. Somebody please tell us. We're stupid. 55. I'm gonna say 55 because it's 2021. 66 to 21. 55. Yeah, about 55. Wait,
Gotcha.
45. 45. Wait.
So the sightings they described was a man-like shadowy figure that flew over their heads from a nearby tree and off into the night. 3 days later, on November 15th, two couples spotted this strange being flying over their heads as well. But unfortunately, things had made a turn for the worse. For they were chased in their car by this 10-foot-long black figure with glowing red eyes. Many other sightings poured into the newspapers following these incidents, causing an independent newspaper to dub this creature the Mothman. Due to Point Pleasant being so close to a nuclear power plant, however, many residents began to believe that this Mothman was in fact a government experiment or part of a more elaborate scheme regarding government nuclear testing.
Sorry to cut you off here, but
You're good.
does everybody from the 60s through like the 80s and 90s think that every power plant was just a secret facility for the government, apparently?
Well, you gotta think about this. This is like right after the Cold War, right?
Yeah, that is
So,
true.
like picturing this as an era, like.
Well, I
this is
guess
already
by
a
that
time.
point, nuclear power was, not as popular as it is, now. Like, it wasn't really more like a forefront of like people knew what it was, right?
Right. No, we are not nuclear physicists. So we have no fucking clue
No
what
idea.
you're talking about.
Nope. I just know that a lot of our power comes from nuclear.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's definitely why I wanted to mention like early in this episode the fact that everybody's minds are crazy, not crazy right now, but like absolutely creative and going all over the place because there's not really a lot of interesting things going on in the world right now. You're surrounded by comic books and you're surrounded by these superheroes. No wonder you're going to start pulling out things and start thinking, oh, a nuclear power plant, that's how the Hulk got his powers, was from gamma radiation. So of course you're going to start making these connections and be like, maybe this is a nuclear power plant. And then I feel like the adults are like, oh, well, maybe this is a nuclear experiment. Like
Yeah.
it's just the way the world is at that point. You know what I mean?
I mean, at the point in time they're at, yeah, that's what they're gonna believe. The younger generation's gonna think, oh, it's just a creature from our nightmares and stuff like that, and the adults are gonna be like, it's definitely a government experiment. And what are they doing inside the power plant? Are they putting radiation on things and testing on humans and blah blah blah? But like the scariest part about the part you just said was that people had sightings of this thing following them.
Right. And this
Like-
is a 10-foot long creature that's like flying right behind them and catching
So-
up to them in a car.
Yeah. And like even if it wasn't just flying, even if it was just standing as well, like just to see a wings on something that tall or that big, it's just like I'd shit. I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'd shit.
I'd shit my pants too.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I feel like anybody in their right mind would see this creature and be absolutely terrified.
Well, you have every right to be terrified. That thing's oh god. Like,
right?
well, if it's that big too, you would feel it if it's flying past you faster than your car is. You would feel it like a oncoming car whizzing by you
Right.
and you're hitting you with that air.
Right.
So you'd feel your car go whoosh like right over the roof and oh gosh,
What a scary thought to think.
terrifying. All right,
Shall
let's
we-
continue. Let's continue.
Yes, sir. So what these residents didn't know was that these sightings would actually come to a halt by the next year, due to a tragedy that would take the lives of 46 innocent people. The collapse of the Silver Bridge on December 15th, 1967. Now note, there is no downplaying this incident. What happened was in fact a tragedy, and many of these deaths shouldn't be put lightly. But what is interesting about these events transpiring is how these two incidents happen to coincide together, and the sudden disappearance of these sightings of Mothman do seem a bit fishy. The collapse of the Silver Bridge was later attributed to faulty I-bar suspension chains, but this didn't stop many conspiracy theorists to publicize their theories and make the story of Mothman what it is now. In fact, Mothman still has a resounding impact on the conspiracy theory world, where people attribute sightings of Mothman as premonitions of something terrible that's going to happen. For example, some claim that there were sightings of Mothman in New York City before the planes crashed into the World Trade Center in 2001, and some say that there were sightings by Chernobyl before the reactor meltdown in 1986, and many other places around the United States as well as the entire world. Which I find absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, that does sound crazy. It sounds
Right.
it sounds far-fetched enough that it sounds like it could be true though, too.
Right, and I think that's
'Cause, like,
that's
it
the whole
sounds-
thing.
it sounds like, like, because you have to think about it. If Mothman came from one point, right, in one area, one spot, that's where he was first seen and everything like that, and there's no other previous records of him at that point,
Right.
from anybody, all of a sudden now it's blowing up all over the country and everywhere from 1966 till at the least 2002 because of the planes hitting the towers. So to think of just out of nowhere, it's spotted in New York, it's spotted in Russia for the Chernobyl incident. Like, you gotta think, it's more than just a West Virginia thing now. Now all of a sudden it's a world thing. It's a Mothman is international. He should just be our international mascot. Screw West Virginia. Yeah, screw it. Yeah,
we have Mothman.
Fuck the bald eagle. Yeah, Mothman. Let's go. I'll sign a petition for that.
I'll sign a petition for that too, man. That sounds great. I would love to be the Mothman. Are you kidding me?
Let's make him our international mascot at the UN meeting. He'll just show up like, what's up, guys? I'm here now.
It's just Joe Biden dressed up as Mothman.
I was born in 1966. Nope, definitely not. 1943. I have no idea how old Joe Biden is. Please, government, don't come for me. Government, please, it was a joke. It's a joke, please.
So speaking of the government here, I find it super interesting the fact that these major events,
There's no government step in either. There's no
Not only is there no government step in, you're super quiet, by the way, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. But like, not only the fact that there's no government step in, but the fact that not only did a lot of adults around, Point Pleasant saw this as like, maybe this is a government experiment, and have it immediately happen where there's so many like terrible events so close to each other. Like the fact that it was spotted near Chernobyl, right? One of Russia's nuclear power plants. That's already a big step into like international waters, a lot of government, messing around with stuff. And then 2001, 9/11. That's another big conspiracy theory in the conspiracy theory world as to what really happened. Is it a government setup? I'm not saying it is. Don't quote me on that one, please.
3 episodes down the line, 9/11 was an inside job.
Maybe down the road.
It's spooky because it's a setup.
But like, it's such an interesting concept to think about. The fact that not only were 46 people tragically passed away due to this, the Silver Bridge collapsing. That's a big thing in history. You know what I mean? That's not something to be taken lightly. 46
and the amount of people that died, that's
right. That's tragic. That's a tragic thing. But it also makes you start thinking about why did that happen? You know what I mean? So government-wise, what it's been played off as is an IBAR that was faulty, right? And it's around Christmas time right now, so there's a lot of people who are traveling, and it was basically rush hour, and it caused the entire thing to collapse. That's what the main story is, quote unquote, is. A lot of people are traveling. It caused too much weight onto this bridge, and the bridge unfortunately collapsed. But for a Mothman sighting to be right next to it, and if people
right around that date too,
right, and if people are already thinking about stuff that's going on with being right next to a nuclear power plant, it could be a government testing facility for like all anybody knows. So it's very strange, to put it lightly. It's very strange. There was also sightings in Chicago in 2006, I believe, somewhere around there. Just because there's been a lot of instances where there's been
a tragedy and then a tragedy,
together. So it's just kind of a crazy concept to think about. So the real question I have to ask you here is, what is Mothman? Is he in fact a 10-foot wingspan long humanoid with glowing red eyes?
I think the thing about Mothman is there's not enough. It's hard with conspiracy theories, even just being a conspiracy theory by itself, but for evidence and things to show up and then sightings across the world and everything, it's hard to say there's not enough evidence, but at the same time there's not, there's not enough evidence to know what it is. But there's all of these people across the world from different cultures and different backgrounds. You know, like I know there's a lot of Russians that don't believe in anything. Like they don't believe in any of the conspiracy theories. I know there's a lot of Russians that don't. I've met Russians personally that don't. There's a guy at my work. He's Russian. He just doesn't believe in any of it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like then you hear, you know, at Chernobyl in 1986, like that's crazy. Just for them to be like, yeah, there was a fucking flying ass 10-foot motherfucker in the air, you know?
Right.
It's hard to think. It's like, because if it was just a U.S. based thing, like, you know, it was just West Virginia and only West Virginia and everybody there, you know, all of a sudden saw this Mothman, you'd be like, oh yeah, you know, that could be possible. But he's international. He's in a different country, halfway around the world. Right. So is there one Mothman or is there multiple?
That's where I was going with that. Exactly where I was going with that. Are there multiple different Mothmen now, or, you know?
Or so, could Mothman be an android?
That is also
a flying android that's like a plane, but it's a spy. Because if it's over Chernobyl, who's to say that we didn't make it? So we're flying over Russia to spy on them and see what they're doing at their power plants and what they're developing and stuff like that. So you could go in a whole down another rabbit hole there.
You never know if it's like a government agent or not as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
There's, especially in the 1950s and 1960s, there were a lot of CIA agents who were, you know, put into the USSR, the former USSR, to make sure that things were going the way that the United States wanted it to go. That's a solid fact that we know from the CIA. So who's to say that it's not a government agent that's posing as an opposing force? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
As you can tell, I absolutely love this.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
This is my bread and butter right here.
You can go on this all day. Yeah, let's finish it up.
This up really quick before we keep on going. So, like I said, what is Mothman? Is he in fact a 10-foot wingspan long humanoid with glowing red eyes? Or are these sightings really just a large heron, which is a bird, that flew by coincidentally, like many local scientists believe? In fact, focus on Mothman having many attributes similar to a bird is what makes many local scientists believe that they might have been spotting this local heron rather than a humanoid. So the heron itself is considered to be a sandhill crane, right? Essentially, what these things look like are they can grow up to be 10 feet long, and they have red rings around their eyes. And Dr. Robert L. Smith claims that this, you know, was more than likely the culprit due to the crane having a 10-foot long wingspan, red markings around its eyes, especially at nighttime, and it does match the description of Mothman to almost a T. But the part of me just doesn't want to believe it, just because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I love this.
Yeah, that's true.
So it does fit the description of Mothman, but these sandhill cranes aren't native to West Virginia. But to give this theory some backbone, the spotting of these sandhill cranes aren't uncommon for West Virginia. There aren't a ton, but there's enough to be a thought of this might be the case.
But then how do you describe it showing up in other places in the world?
Right. I mean,
how do you yeah, but how do you, I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't know the bird species in Russia, but they got to be birds that can endure to the cold almost year round, right? So is the same type of bird there? Because if they see it there, I know I'm basing this whole thing off of Chernobyl right now, you know.
No, you're all good.
The Chernobyl explosion created multiple more Mothman, all right? That's my thing. Chernobyl caused more Mothman, and the elephant's foot was just the beginning of everything. We're all going to get attacked by Mothman in the future. Watch out your door. We're coming right now. Yeah, he's coming. No, but like that's what you got to think, you know, is New York that way too?
Right.
Is Chicago have the same type of birds? You know, just because they flock that way doesn't mean they're always going to be there. And, you know, it would be different if there wasn't enough sightings of them to call it, like, you know, like only a couple of sightings have ever been seen there. Because then you could be like, okay, that makes sense. But if they've seen it enough times in that one area, is it really the flock of birds? Or is it something bigger?
I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
So whether a large humanoid being lives near Point Pleasant nuclear power plant or not, this local legend has impacted the world of conspiracy theories as well as Point Pleasant itself in a very positive way. So I don't want this to seem like,
I believe there's more at Point Pleasant too, right? There's other conspiracy theories that come from there, right?
Oh yeah. the conspiracy theory world is far and wide, and Mothman is just one of the very
Tip of
small
the
amount
iceberg.
of beings. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's the tip of the iceberg here. And I can't wait to keep diving into this. But I love the fact that because of how prominent this was to this city's history, they actually have a whole festival celebrating Mothman.
Wow.
Right? And I want to go so bad. So, ladies and gents,
Let's throw our own one here.
ladies and gents, we're going to have to go to West Virginia and let y'all know how the Mothman Festival goes. Because hopefully, after COVID is over and everything, we'll be able to travel to West Virginia and focus on, Mothman, and I'll be ecstatic. You'll see
Mothman
you'll see a photo
vlog
of me.
coming.
Mothman vlog. See a photo of me wearing a Mothman.
We're gonna be out in the middle of the night wearing like antennas and shit. Like, we summon the almighty Mothman.
A photo of us surrounded by fire, just like Mothman, come with us.
Mothman. We're gonna be wearing. It's gonna be one of those like what are they? Cursed images. This is where that's what we're gonna make. We're gonna make cursed images. Just us in Mothman suits. Come with Mothman.
Come with Mothman. Join us, please. So the real question is now, and I pose this to our viewers as well as you. Do you think that he will ever appear again? Or is this just a case of misidentification? Because the world may never know. So give us your thoughts.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, give us all the thoughts you can. Put them down in the comments. Respond however you want. Do it however you want.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. On top of that, let's get our opinions on this. Do you think Mothman will ever come back? Or even if he's never left, do you think he'll be spotted again somewhere? Or, what's going to happen with that?
So a little part of me wants to hold on to the fact that, yes, Mothman is a real, being, right? And that's just because, I'm a Bigfoot believer myself. You know what I mean? I'm that straight up cryptozoology loving bastard. I love this kind of stuff. It's my bread and butter. So I want to say that yes, one of these days we might actually have a way of seeing Mothman and then quoting it and being like, "This is Mothman." I don't know if we'll ever be able to catch one because I think the government. This is diving way too far for this question.
Here we go. No, keep going. Hey, no holds barred. Keep it going. Keep just straight off the dome, man. That's how it is. What you think? What comes from your heart?
I'm going off the deep end here.
No. It's not off the deep end until we start using presidents' names. So then we're good. After that, then we're fine.
Very true. But my whole concept is, I think the government might be protecting cryptids, whether it be the Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot or Wendigos, which we might be hinting at on another episode.
Skinwalkers
and Wendigos. I feel like the government has been protecting these beings for some reason, whether it be, now follow me here, whether it be UFOs or, maybe the Mothman is just an extraterrestrial that was caught by the government, and now that's why we haven't been able to see him recently, is because he got caught by the government. So somebody went to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and caught the Mothman, and while they were trying to escape, maybe somebody saw something, and all of a sudden the Silver Bridge had to collapse.
That's true.
Like I said, I'm going off the deep end here.
Yeah. I like where your head's at. I like where your head's at, though. You're throwing it out there. You're giving every explanation you can. Maybe you're right. Maybe someone did see the Mothman, and maybe the bridge had to go for some reason because someone said or saw something they shouldn't have. Right?
And same thing goes with Bigfoot,
Yeah,
who knows?
Who knows if someone actually ever caught a picture of him or caught anything of him?
Right.
If say the guy makes it on the forest, ready to post it on the internet, ready to tell everybody, "Oh, I found Bigfoot," or even if you killed a Bigfoot, because I believe there are multiple Bigfoot. I believe that. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I believe there's multiple of them. I believe there's more than one Bigfoot because there's sightings of Yetis and. There's Bigfoots, there's Sasquatches, which, you never know what I believe there's multiple.
Right.
But, who knows if one of them killed him, pulling him out of the forest, and all of a sudden he gets attacked by another one.
right?
Or if he's pulling it out of the
gets-
forest and the government pulls up on him, you know,
Exactly.
men in black will come up on him and be
Exactly.
like, hey,
Oh
put
my
it
God,
back.
that's
Yeah.
that's a whole other episode. That's a whole other episode.
But yeah,
Oh man.
you know, who knows? Who knows if someone actually has ever seen those things and, you know, was ready to tell them and all of a sudden,
Wasn't
gone. You
able
know,
to tell their story.
they don't get to tell their story. You know, what if the Men in Black stuff was real and, you know, they can just mind gone? You know, how many stories could have been told today if there was no intervene?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I want all of our viewers as well as you to think on that, because that's definitely something
For
that
another
we
episode.
we may be
We'll
talking
cover
about
that in
down the
another
road.
episode. Yep.
Because I've been thinking about that for a little while now, and I want to do some more research onto it, but I'm a little scared because I feel like my FBI agent's already kind of catching on.
Yeah. He already knows about us, but it's fine.
He already knows about the Spooki Bois podcast. He's actually already subscribed to the Spooki Bois podcast.
He's subscribed to the
you should
YouTube
be.
channel. You know, he's got everything.
Oh man. Well, that's all I got for you for today, but I hope you all enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please stay safe and stay spooky.
Stay spooky, everybody.